Today we're taking a look at these NFL matches: Pittsburgh Steelers vs Philadelphia Eagles and Washington Football Team vs New England Patriots, which are happening on Thursday, August 12, 2021, and giving you match breakdowns, betting tips and predictions in general, and over-under picks on these games. Welcome back to High Stakes. Let's get straight into it. Also, don't forget to subscribe to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos. And if you would like more betting tips and predictions, then check out our Patreon in the link down below. Our new Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. 5 plans are available for each and every one of you. You can get 30 extra betting picks all the way up to 270 extra betting picks per month. Stop wasting hours of your time searching for bad betting advice that ends up costing you a lot of money. Join the High Stakes Patreon now and get the best betting picks and advice. Pittsburgh Steelers vs Philadelphia Eagles. This one is going to be interesting as the Steelers have knocked the rust off in game situations by playing in the Hall of Fame game. We may see some of the starters for Pittsburgh see some action to give them a chance to have some reps together. The Steelers were solid defensively and on special teams against Dallas, while their offense generated some points in the second half en route to the victory. Tomlin has been successful as a head coach in preseason action, posting a 32-23 mark after last week's win. Sirianni is dealing with a tough situation for his first head coaching job. The Eagles were a dumpster fire last season, and things aren't all that much better now. Last season, the Steelers ranked dead last in the NFL in rushing offense, and in the 16-3 win over Dallas in the Hall of Fame game, they only rushed for 76 yards. The team is high on first-round draft pick Najee Harris, but he only rushed for 22 yards on 7 carries in the win over Dallas. The running back duo of Jalen Samuels and Kalen Ballage combined to rush for 39 yards on 16 carries in the game. Look for Mike Tomlin, who is in his 15th season and has never had a losing record, to establish the run, as they will need a run game with Big Ben in his swan song. Quarterback Mason Rudolph started the Hall of Fame game and looks to have the upper hand in nabbing the backup job. Dwayne Haskins and Joshua Dobbs, who had a lone TD pass in the Hall of Fame game, will get snaps and will battle it out to make the roster. In the Hall of Fame game, the Steelers were outgained nearly 100 yards, 347-250, but forced 3 turnovers and had 4 sacks. However, giving up nearly 350 yards to a Dallas team that did not play Dak Prescott or Ezekiel Elliott is a little concerning. My betting advice for that game is to pick Pittsburgh Steelers +1. Washington Football Team vs New England Patriots. I'm expecting Cam Newton and Mac Jones to both get plenty of work in this first game. It's obviously always a question mark when it comes to Bill Belichick coach teams on playing time in these circumstances, but it makes sense for the top 2 quarterbacks on the roster to see the field. The team already knows what they have in backup Brian Hoyer. This is about finding out what could be with either Newton or Jones. The Patriots are usually well coached from top to bottom, which explains their success over the years in preseason games. Belichick isn't just coaching the top guys on his roster. He's also masterminding the backups and putting them in the best possible positions to succeed in these games. I'm expecting both Newton and Jones to look sharp while Washington's offense runs into trouble against the Patriots' pass rush. Washington finished the season with one of the worst rushing attacks in the league last year. The Patriots might not stand out at receiver, but they have the tight ends to do damage, along with one of the most versatile offensive backfields in football. The first year under head coach Ron Rivera couldn't have gone much better for Washington, which got a much-needed culture change, made the postseason for the first time since 2015, and played the eventual champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers tough on Wild Card Weekend. The WFT was able to win the NFC East despite finishing 7-9. Things won't be easier in 2021 as the NFC East can only get better as a whole, but Washington will be in contention again thanks to a stout young defense, some exciting young players at the skill positions, and improved quarterback play. A quarterback carousel featuring Dwayne Haskins, Alex Smith and Taylor Heineke was the main concern last season, so the football team added journeyman veteran Ryan Fitzpatrick via free agency to take over starting duties. My betting advice for that game is to pick New England Patriots +2. Now for the over and under picks. Pittsburgh Steelers vs Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles head into the season with a new head coach and a new starting quarterback. Jalen Hurts will be thrown into the fire right away after they dealt Carson Wentz to the Colts in the offseason. While Philly has some weapons, look for veteran Joe Flacco and Nick Mullins to get the majority of the snaps, though Hurts should play some. Nick Sirianni was last the offensive coordinator of the Colts, and look for him to run a balanced offensive attack against the Steelers and give some reps to the running back trio of Miles Sanders, Boston Scott, and Kerryon Johnson, who are all vying for the top job in the backfield. Sirianni also going to call the plays this season. Philadelphia suffered through a brutal 4-11-1 mark in 2020 as the team failed to deliver even in a division where no team finished better than .500 on the year. That disappointing campaign led to a complete overhaul of the organization. Coach Doug Peterson, who led the team to the first Super Bowl win in franchise history, was ousted after 5 years at the helm. Former second overall pick Carson Wentz was dealt to Indianapolis in the offseason. Also gone are receivers Alshon Jeffrey and Desian Jackson, tackle Jason Peters and defensive tackle Malik Jackson, among others. It's going to be adjusting on the fly for the Eagles as they look to figure out which pieces fit into which holes as the preseason wears on. My betting advice for that game is to pick under 34.5. Washington football team versus New England. Life after Tom Brady got off to a rough start for the Patriots, who turned in their worst record since the first year under Bill Belichick as head coach way back in 2000, while struggling massively to move the ball offensively. While the division looks tough with the Buffalo Bills standing out as a title contender and the Miami Dolphins quickly emerging, the Patriots could be back in the mix after a busy offseason. Picking quarterback Mac Jones in the first round was the big news of the summer for New England, but the entire offense will look different as New England invested heavily in free agent pass catchers, with Jonnu Smith, Hunter Henry, Kendrick Bourne and Nelson Aguilar all coming in addition to star offensive tackle Trent Brown via trade. New England wasn't quite as active on the defensive side, although linebacker Matthew Judon is now here, and it will get back several veterans who opted out last year, including standout linebacker Dante Hightower. As the Patriots have legitimate competition for the starting quarterback job, we should see a good amount of both Cam Newton, who struggled in his first year with the Patriots with 8 touchdowns to 10 interceptions, and the rookie Jones. Beyond that, it's unclear how much Belichick will play his starters, but it would be a surprise to see many other veterans get more than a series or two. The Washington football team is expected to shed their generic name and logo in 2022. But where does that leave them in 2021? They cut ties with quarterback Dwayne Haskins after investing a first-round draft pick in him. So this is the year for the team to move away from that story and try to rebuild in a different way. With Alex Smith officially announcing his retirement back in April, the team latched onto the magic man himself, Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's likely to be the starter with Kyle Allen, Taylor Heineke and Steven Montez waiting in the wings. Granted, this is still an open competition, and you should expect to see all of these quarterbacks get some work with the focus primarily being on Fitzpatrick, Allen and Heineke. Allen is hoping to recapture some of the buzz he created, minus the interceptions, as the starting quarterback for the Carolina Panthers back in 2019. And Heineke was on the verge of being heralded a cult hero after giving Tom Brady's Tampa Bay Buccaneers all they could handle in last season's NFC wildcard playoffs. My betting advice for that game is to pick under 35. Good luck to all of you. That's it for this video. Stay tuned and stay safe for the next betting tips and advice.